Jamie was saying about small town America, and he's absolutely correct. Wisconsin is used as a sort of a litmus pad for what is middle America. You know, you see stuff all the time where they're either quoting things from Madison or Green Bay or Milwaukee. You know, that does serve as middle America, and from that standpoint as well, the message in the Omro Heist too is that the most dastardly of deeds can take place in what is the most inconspicuous place in the world.
Today on the show is featuring the brand new film, The Omro Heist, which is now available on VOD, Apple TV, Prime Video. Give it a search and you can watch it today. Around listening to us talk to the director and cast members of the show, we got a returning guest, Simon Phillips, who not only wrote the script of this film, but stars in it as well. And around all that, the real true beauty of this bank heist movie is how it brought the real town of Omro together, and you're going to hear about that right now.
I don't know if I've mentioned it to the other guys. Jamie, Ken, did you know I was in a show with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Have I ever mentioned that?
No, have you heard that?
Jamie, did I mention it to you?
Yes, he turns a chair.
Jamie, have you heard that?
I've not. This is news. I can't believe this. Bruce who? Sorry, Bruce who?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I was also in something with Bruce Willis. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
I never heard of this Arnold guy before.
I'm going to give you guys afterwards, you're all getting a fruit basket, which will just contain no fruit, but actual DVDs of, that's how it's arranged. DVDs of Simon and Schwarzenegger. I was also in The Witcher. Don't know if you guys saw that one. No.
It was kind of weird. I remember when that show first premiered on Netflix. You know how they have like a clip of a show playing in the background automatically? And it was Simon. It was the Simon scene with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was wild. It's absolutely weird, like a weird dream.
The first time I knew I made the cut, by the way, was when I watched the trailer.
I just got a message to go ahead and start, and if Anthony joins, we'll just like add him into the conversation. But yeah, just want to say it's cool to connect with you again, Simon, and meet you guys. Like I mentioned, when I saw the trailer, I saw you. I'm like, oh, of course I want to talk to him again. Then I noticed it's a bank heist movie. Double down. And what was awesome is I just watched the screener, not reading anything about it, and then at the end it said written by Simon Phillips. So I kind of want to know how you banded all these guys together and maybe tricked them into making your movie.
No, well, this is me, myself, and Ken, the producer, and who's also in the movie with me, as the politician. We don't need to say corrupt politician, Ken. We can just say politician. Everyone knows what that means. Ken had he just bought the bank for he was transferring transferring his business in Wisconsin, a pharmacy business. But before he did that, he invited me up to have a little look, and I had a look around this bank. It would be a decommissioned bank. And it was perfect for a movie. So we kind of reverse engineered the script. I took some videos and chatted it over with Jamie and Ken, and then we grew this story. But it's all Ken's, wonderful inspiration there that took it into.
Yeah.
Here comes Tony Gravello.
Here he comes.
Hey, the man. What's up? Welcome. We were they were just explaining to me how they found the location first before this movie came to be, and I think that's just like such a cool thing. You got the space, it's like, what are we gonna do with it? This is awesome. And yeah, even as I talked to you in the other interview, Simon, you said you were like you grew up like watching a lot of action movies, and I feel like it's the ultimate dude fantasy of being in a heist too. So that kind of had to be exciting to kind of put together a heist story and everything.
Oh yeah, well, Jamie was talking about it before. There, one of our favorite movies is is Heat. I think every boy loves it. But I mean, bank robbery films, I've always found that all heist movies are bank robbery. Any kind of siege thing like that, Die Hard. Like it's always it is exciting, and I don't know why it's that sort of moral jeopardy, as well of who's going to win. But sort of. So yeah,
especially when when it doesn't end the way you'd expect it to end. I think that that puts that extra layer in there that's very interesting. Simon did a really good job with the script, and and of course, having Jamie there is wonderful because we've been working together now for a while, and and Jamie kind of, he shoots for the edit really, which kind of means that he doesn't take a lot of the standard. You're the guy that reads the book and does the directing the way he's, they tell him to. They make sure that they get a different camera angles on every scene.
Hmm.
You do your master shot, and then you do your close-ups, and you do your over-the-shoulder shots, and I'm sure Anthony could tell us a lot, or Tony can tell us a lot about that. And as a result, it makes editing difficult, and also it you kind of cut to the quick here because we kind of know the shot we want, and so Jamie shoots it, and we don't mess around with the rest of the shots, which helps us get through the movie. It keeps the expenses way down, and we can do a movie like this in 8 days, which really works out well. I remember that the Alfred Hitchcock in when he was directing, the producer was just livid after this particular scene. And why didn't you take this shot? Why didn't you take this shot? And Hitchcock just said, because you would use it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
And he did
definitely.
not want that shot in his movie. Okay.
Hmm.
And so I really see the value in what Jamie does and how he's able
Uh,
to do it.
Thank you,
So
Ken. We shot this movie single camera, and we only can only shoot. We're shooting in a week, so I mean, you have to think about when you're shooting a scene, like what shots you need, and edit it in your brain on the fly. Otherwise, probably wouldn't get through it all.
Yeah, I
right.
was gonna mention too, like I loved how it looked too, and even how you did these establishing shots of each like location. It almost like turned the town into like a character
Character,
itself too.
yeah,
And yeah, it
absolutely.
felt like you're starting to get to know that, like it's like a familiar small town. And is Omro like a real place, or is this a made up spot?
Yeah, it's,
I'm in Omro right now.
Okay,
I
where is this?
It's 8 miles west of Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Okay, never
It's like
been.
center of the state.
Cool,
And
cool.
look at Sean's face. He's like, and he goes, "And where is Oshkosh?" Like he's going to keep
Yeah.
zooming the map out.
well, you heard of Oshkosh Bagosh children's clothing and things like that. But I've lived here. I have a pharmacy here, and like I say, we expanded and moved some of our closed door operations to the bank building in Winneconne, and which is a sister city. And yeah, it's a real place. And so it was kind of a little bit of an homage to my new hometown. I've been up here for about 30 years. So,
Yeah.
um,
It's funny, I've never been to Wisconsin before I shot this movie, and I don't know if it's one of those things. You buy a car, you think it's really unique, and you drive in the street and you keep seeing your same car. But the Wisconsin, I hear referenced so much all the time now, like whether it be a movie, the news, like Wisconsin comes up like constantly.
Yeah. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
it's just
Living rent free in your head, Jamie.
Yes,
yeah, or maybe
but
it
it's
was
like,
always
but
there, now you're noticing. Like,
yeah.
well,
By the
yeah,
way,
and
uh,
Wisconsin to me, like the essence of what I always hear at these in a movie or whatever, it's like salt of the earth, middle America, like
right,
God's country, where mortals still matter, kind of thing. And
yeah.
being there for that week, like I could feel that from the community. It was quite
yeah.
nice.
But Tony's from Wisconsin as well. Him and I are kind of the same age, and we grew up kind of together in Milwaukee. So,
Cool, cool. Yeah,
um,
and Tony, I really loved your character as well. Just playing that the chief of police. But at first, I thought you were going to be like the major bad guy of how you were like talking to your son. There was something triggering about that. Like you didn't want him to follow his dreams. I'm like, oh, this is too real for me. But you ended up like turning around and everything, and it was just like a cool like character who was just I don't know, had like a lot of emotion and passion for his family and everything.
One of the nice things about having a friend who's a producer and Ken is that you're afforded opportunities to play different types of characters because we've known each other, and he's literally since our teenage years, and he's seen me do all different kinds of things. Normally what happens in the expedited world of casting, you tend to get cubbyholed, and so I do play a lot of bad guys, and it was a chance to play a good guy with an edge, and I play a lot of edgy characters too. But it was an opportunity to do a character like that, small town sheriff, who as you were saying, at first glance, you see that there is this dynamic between father and son that is a little bit rough, obviously, because the son has left the nest and gone off to try and sort of half supersede his background and his father and working in the FBI. And the father, the dynamic between that, and also the father feeling that you abandoned the family unit and mother, which is also part of the sort of the kernel message within the piece as well. In the movie, it's also that, as Jamie was saying about small town America, and he's absolutely correct. Wisconsin is used as a sort of a litmus pad for what is middle America. You see stuff all the time where they're either quoting things from Madison or Green Bay or Milwaukee, that it does serve as middle America. And from that standpoint as well, the message in the Omro Heist too is that the most dastardly of deeds can take place in what is, the most
Right.
inconspicuous place in the world.
Hmm.
I talked about the fact that we're seeing all this flooding that's going on, and it's not happening in major marketplaces. It's happening in these small towns, where the disaster will strike, and it could
Yeah.
happen anywhere.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a lot of like those small towns, they get like these or like iconically known for maybe something that happened. I live in southern Ontario, and there's like a couple places like people wouldn't have heard of unless this mass murder didn't happen or whatever too. So that's what kind of
Right.
connected me with like the title of this film. Like even though I haven't heard of it, like this big event goes down, and that's probably like something like if this
Exactly.
actually happened would be the iconic thing that people would talk about this town.
I mean, and I also say this too, which is, not so ironic because of the placement of Wisconsin as well. You hear a lot of the Canadian A, that is in especially the upper part of Wisconsin. So I mean, it sort of translates, universally across the border too. Then we're all really one. And I mean, whether it is, in America or it is in Canada or wherever else around the globe.
Hmm.
It is that same story that could happen anywhere.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even oh,
The other thing with Simon's script is that, which I find fascinating, is that he was quickly but adeptly able to build some layers into his characters, like what Tony was talking about. There was things going on in Tony's head that you could almost kind of figure out what he might be thinking, or at least guess what he's thinking, because
mhm.
of the loss in his life. Then the second loss when his son moves out, and now the coming back, and the ex-girlfriend that he says I still run into her, and the layers keep building up, and then when something happens, you got to think what's going through his head,
Yeah, I
Mhm.
what.
loved I loved what Simon and Jamie had come up with. It's just a little piece, which was done, in production and with creating that photograph of myself, my wife, and my son, and we were able to execute that, again, and this is a tip of the hat to Ken, because of what came involved in the logistics and what we were able to incorporate with locations, all those locations, with the fire engine, with the police cars, with all of that, which was, and coming that particular scene with the photograph coming off one of the fire engines, sitting on a fire engine, and then stepping forward. Um, you know, Ken's connections in the city of Omro were massive. And so because of that and the look of the film, and the other thing as well as with Jamie and Simon too, particularly Jamie, the technology for filmmaking is so advanced. And you were saying how the dynamic and the way that the establishing shots and the drone shots, I'm not going to speak about it. I'm going to let Jamie talk about it because, these guys did a tremendous job of how they put it together.
Definitely. It's so fascinating to me too, like you said the word layers a bunch of time, and there's also layers on top of layers once you see the I'm not going to spoil anything, but like as the you get to know the characters. And what's very fascinating is hearing like again that this came from seeing the location first and then building the story. So I kind of want
Right.
to ask you, Simon, of like what was like this first step? Was it the bank robbery? And because it seemed like you just had like all these different pieces and then of scatteredness and then kind of put it into a nice puzzle in the end, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was, it was a dream of ours to be able to make a bank robbery film because, it's notoriously difficult to get a bank to film in because most banks don't want you to film in them
Hmm.
anyway. And if you are filming in them, they definitely don't want you to be filming a robbery scene. Like it would just need to be a regular bank scene. So this was a bit of a gift to be able to do something like this. But when we're telling people about the movie, you go, well, it's a bank heist movie, sort of something. I mean, that's not what it's about, but that's the setting, like so that's the
Hmm.
background for everything. So the core of the movie, I think, is the father-son thing. I was talking earlier, interview. It's both relevant to, I think, me, Jamie, but probably everybody here. I'm from a small town. I grew up in a small town in the west coast of Ireland, and I lived there for 10 years. And every year I go back, sort of, and every year things change, sort of, but family, there's family and old friends there and stuff like that. And it's kind of it's one of those things that, sons do. I think it's a boys thing, so sons fly the nest. They go on and they try and make something of their life. And when they come home and see dad, there's a bit of a weird scenario of like if they did supersede their dad, sort of like if they did make the right decision, and in Tony's character's mind, it's always easier for me. It's like Cole went on and he joined the FBI. He achieved something great out there, but Tony did something harder. He stayed. Like
Hmm.
it's easy to go. It's tough to stay. Like, and that both men are right. Like, so there isn't actually what they have to do is find the middle ground. And over the course of the movie, this bank robbery, this bank heist gives them the opportunity to get closer together again, like sort of just to, and it's often that third thing you need to resolve a conflict, sort of. So that's actually, I mean, that's, I quite like that father-son thing, sort of, it just, it plays, it plays nicely. And then you add all these colorful characters around it to support that, sort of, and that's where it gets fun.
Yeah, again, and yeah, that's just one of many different pieces of this big puzzle that people
Sure.
are going to see when it comes out on VOD. I believe the 29th. Am I correct on that?
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
29.
awesome, awesome.
Yep.
Also, I think it's cool having you three as the cast members here because now I'm just thinking, Simon, you were the man on the outside or on the inside. Anthony was the man on the outside, and Ken, you were the guy bringing it all together, seeing all perspectives of everything. So it's
Right.
super
What I
cool.
like about Ken's character in the story is that he's sort of he's a politician, but he's very scheming. So he's kind of seeing which way the wind blows a lot, like. But actually,
You
he's got
mean
a
like a politician?
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
he's actually got a
Yeah.
winning hand whichever way it goes. Do you know what I mean? Sort of, and that's the. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't. He kind of at some point it seems like well that's spoiling the end. He can't lose no matter what happens. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's just
Or
a
so we
dad.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a very like familiar character. Like right away, it's just like you see Ken playing that politician. You're like, oh, I've seen this guy before, and automatically hate him already.
Right.
You know that Ken's
You
actually,
know,
I think you've been invited to run for mayor, haven't you, before? And I
oh
don't think
yes, oh
again.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
I maybe not anymore after everybody's seen the movie,
I
but
was gonna
I,
say this is gonna make them skeptical if they this
I tell
footage
you,
gets leaked.
probably in this environment, it would probably help him, not hurt him.
Yeah.
you know what's interesting, and you hear this cliche a lot, but it's like people that I was portraying that character is the kind of guy that was more upset that he got caught than what the consequences were.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
it was kind of they're so used to being able to spin these webs and control everything. And even at the end, it's like you could see he was more upset. Like, how'd you get me? How did you how?
Yeah, like how dare you crush my ego type of vibe.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which was also quite neat, you know.
Hmm.
Um, so sometimes you get that, and Simon did a wonderful job in putting that together and really not missing those things. and being able to keep, and then he would go down and take a character like one of the bad guys, one of his guys, um, and still add some interesting dimensions to them along the way, like the guy with the lip gloss and what is it, Good Housekeeping magazine and the Golden Bachelor and all that. And you throw those little ones in, and yeah, I mean, it's just kind of fun.
Well, that's
Yeah.
a testament to Jamie actually as well, sort of because those little bits actually that we're just talking about there, they actually didn't exist in the script. We added them on the day, sort of, just because we like whenever we're filming, you have to remember to try and find little moments of color to focus on. It's not just about getting it done as efficiently as possible. Is that actually you have to sometimes you got to take moments that seem, what are we looking at here? It was like we're looking at a guy with doing this chapstick thing. I was like, because it's funny, it provides humor. Why are we bothering to focus on Tony looking at a photograph? Why do we bother photoshopping this photograph of him and his wife? And actually, it's Tony's real wife, but I photoshopped a younger image of Demir, the chap playing Cole, as his child. But you like because it's an important moment. It's like, yeah, even though it doesn't have any dialogue related to it, or it's throwaway ad lib dialogue or something like that, it's important for that thing. And we have to remember that when people watch a movie, they like some of these weird little bits about the lip gloss or the chapstick thing become people's favorite moments. People
Hmm.
like love that, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah, that's kind of worth doing. Yeah,
I'm
it
a
is.
big believer of like these are low budget movies. We don't have a ton of money to make big explosions and all these other ways that Hollywood distracts us and entertains us in quotation marks. And I find if you could make your audience laugh every once in a while unexpectedly, like we're not making a comedy, but every once in a while you might accidentally laugh and have a genuine laugh. I find it allows the movie to be more forgiving in other ways because we don't have the big explosion, but
Hmm.
you're still entertained.
Yeah, definitely. And that, becomes like some of the most memorable parts, I believe, as well.
Right.
And I think it's cool, like you guys kind of have this team, and this isn't the only thing you've worked on together. And I just kind of want to know, like, what's brings you guys together over and over again to collab and bring these ideas to life? Like, what's the big I don't know, like draw to you
I
guys?
have all of the men on this thing. I have all of their children held hostage, and
Yeah, and
in
USBs,
the
right, of
movies, I
things.
will release them all, but only if they make another seven.
Can I take a stab at answering that question? I would say everyone that's on this call right now and everyone that makes these movies, all of us, first and foremost, we love movies. Like we are so connected to movies. It really my entire life revolves around movies, and we don't make these movies with big budgets, and you don't show up for the money. You show up because you love movies. And I find that when this is just a few people that we work with, but like you get on set, there's like 20 people there. There's everyone's there for the same reason that they all have this passion for movies.
Right.
Character-driven projects. That's one of the nice things about this script and the movie. And as you're talking about the small details in each character, and they're character-driven. So you're given a slice of human behavior. I think that all of these working with these fellow artists, with particular goals, we're already from a myriad of ways trying to come up with more projects. Thinking about the same locations and what we can do with them. And this particular team, this is my first project with this team, even having known Ken for all those years. They find the right locations and then build projects around them, interesting locations, and are able to use connections and sort of spiderweb those connections. This cast too as well. I mean, there's actors. We had actors from Canada, Toronto, and other the other provinces as well. There was actors from Chicago. There was Al Diaz is from Dallas. People coming in from all parts of two different countries to want to work on this, and all of us sort of a shared goal in mind to just keep creating projects and keep creating film.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it seems like you guys got a great dynamic and you're having fun with it. I noticed you guys made the Mousetrap as well, and there's another one coming as well. So I don't know if you guys can talk too much about that or if there's anything
Oh, no
We could,
spoilers on that one. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, but it
No.
is coming. It will be coming. We do have a script and we're working on it. We'll have more to say shortly.
That's awesome. Yeah, lots.
Yeah.
I notice a lot of people like in the horror genres gravitate to my show too because I love like covering like slasher stuff too. So yeah.
Yeah. What it boils down to as far as the technical shoot is the fact that we take the things that we can control, like locations, like actors, like tech people behind the scenes, and we make the most of it. And the ones that are beyond our reach because of cost, obviously, um, we don't try to do it and come off looking lousy. We work with our strengths, and I really think that that gets us a long way. Don't try to do something we can't really do well, you know.
Mhm.
It did help making it though in Omro where Ken is residing, because you really felt when we were making it. This is one of the easiest movies we had to make because often we don't know what we need until we get there, and then we're like, I remember on the day requesting a fire truck. So I was like, "Can we have a fire truck back there? Can we get that?" And somebody, I think it was Russell, was it? Who was it? One of your guys was like, "Yeah," he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah," and he just sort of walked away with a sort of panicked look in his eye. And then half an hour later, a fire truck appeared.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, but it's a big ask, and I wouldn't have been able to do it in sort of anywhere else. But
Exactly.
such a community feel, like everybody wanted us to succeed. They just needed to know what we needed, like sort of. So they were very attentive, sort of following myself and Jamie around, kind of being just helpful, like what can you need, and then 9 times out of 10, I don't think there was ever a time that I asked for something that didn't appear. I don't know about you, Jamie.
No, not at all. And like just people in the community, everyone would hear that they're shooting a movie, and we started collecting people along the way. Like people started helping. Like there's a woman that worked at a daycare center, and she took the week off and came to help as a PA. And
Right.
like that's one example of many. Just people just like, oh, what are you guys doing? Can I help? Can I be a part
Yeah,
of it? A little bit of magic.
it
Yeah.
was lovely.
We also had support in post production, which was a really big tool to help service the film. Which was we were able to have screenings of the film and look at it on large screens as well. Entered it into one film festival in Wisconsin. Actually won an award. We won a Best Feature award in that
Oh,
Wisconsin Film
congrats.
Festival. But we were able to access a couple of theaters via connections and look at it on a big screen. I'm going to let Ken talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the whole thing was that, because we've been doing movies and for this time, it just the way it worked out. I wanted to do not a premiere, but a preview of the movie up here in Oshkosh, which is, down the road from Omro, to kind of as a thank you to all those people that helped. And so we had a full house and we were able to see it on a big screen with high quality. This was a very nice theater. They had the latest technology. We were able to see it and hear it, and and it helped us because what we did is we went back and we made some significant small changes to the edit,
Mm.
which I think that those changes that we made really improved the film. I didn't make them, okay? We talked about it between all of us, actually. Everybody had input. And we made those small changes, and my goodness, it made it, we were happy with it, but it made it even better. And now I'm thinking, independent filmmakers uh, should do that. They
Mm.
should try to get in most communities, there's an old theater that someone's fixed up a little bit and shows some movies on the weekends, maybe, and if you could get a chance to use that screen, maybe get 20, 30, 50 people to come and just give their opinions on what you've created. Um, and people, if you ask them, they're happy to give it. And sometimes they're silly or sometimes they're not doable, but a lot of times you hear that same remark or you hear some and then you start thinking, wait a minute, maybe we should. And it doesn't, well, with Jamie doing it, it didn't really take a lot, to get it done. And it's easy for me to say because I didn't have to do anything.
Mhm.
But boy, it really opened my eyes in terms of,
One
I think
screening led to another screening that we had then first up in Oshkosh and then
Yeah.
in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
We were fortunate enough again through contact, a good friend, a friend of mine, Lee Barzak, who owns 3 theaters in the city of Milwaukee, and he gave us access to the Avalon, which is, and Ken knows this because he used to attend this theater when he was a kid as well on
Oh,
the south side of Milwaukee. It's been totally refurbished and restored. We had another screening there on a huge screen in this beautiful theater as well. And, with an audience, it was just, we were able to take those additional steps and listen to audience reaction and see, up close, where there was, as Ken was just saying, all of us taking a look at it and making those small little changes and cuts to really tighten up the film that much more.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And sound advice too. We get a lot of filmmakers listen to these segments of the show too. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, that's such a good idea to have these screenings and take in the feedback, whether it's good or bad and everything, and make the ones that the tweaks that make sense. And even watching this film, I had so much fun watching it, but I feel like talking to you guys, I got another appreciation of just all the certain layers of everything. And even leaving now, I'm thinking it's not just your film. This is the town's film. And I think
exactly.
that's such a cool thing. And I'm sure everybody's excited about this release on the 29th.
Oh yeah.
What it has also sparked, which was also going on at the same time when we were doing this, is just most recently, the state of Wisconsin announced that they're doing a 30% tax break to try and help filmmakers in the state of Wisconsin. And I mean,
Wow.
that's also what we're hoping for, that there's a platform and financial help to help young filmmakers and our filmmakers like all of us to continue to do this work, and to push things forward. And again, Ken can speak more to that and the advantages, especially, being an investor as well, what it means to the budget.
Oh, definitely. You spend so much money, you get 30-40% of that money back immediately. The nut that you've got to hit is significantly impacted on what markets you have to go to, impacted on who you sell it to, where it's going to be shown. And your chances of at least breaking even are really a lot greater. And that's what it is in independent film. I tell Simon, I said, if we break even, then we can make another movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we don't look at it like, oh, we didn't make $1 million on it, and I'm not doing this anymore. We just want to get close to breaking even so that we can say, okay, let's make another one.
Yeah, and you obviously just want to just keep doing what you love, and that's success for me. So,
Exactly.
standing ovation for you guys. Congrats on everything. It's cool to hear even beyond the movie, all this stuff is happening. And I notice I'm just running out of time with you, but I feel like I could talk to you guys forever. So, hopefully, on the next project, we can do this again. That would be awesome.
I'd love to.
All right.
Oh,
Cheers, guys.
everybody, make sure you watch it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Sean.
Thank you,
And
Sean.
thank you,
Anytime.
Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Have a great day, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode featuring the director and cast of the Omro Heist. It is available now on VOD. You can check it out on Apple TV and Prime Video. Give it a search in the Googles. It'll pop up. And like always, we can't run away without thanking you lovely legends on the Patreon page. First up, biggest thanks to the Queen, Ola Mazuka of Sonic Fold, the lovely Amanda McKnight of the Vamp X13 YouTube channel and the Vamp X13 Twitch channel, the wonderful Jenny Potter, the number one gent, Alan Kent, and last but not least, Francis Coffer, aka my mom. If you want a shout out at the end of every episode, also get these episodes early, raw, uncut, right when I'm done the Zoom call, I just post them. You can go to patreon.com/the creative imbalance. It's only $3 a month, and beyond having my forever thanks, you can just go to bed at night and sleep soundly, knowing you're a badass motherfucker who supports raw, uncut, independent media, and nobody can take that away from you. You hear me? with that being said, we got a lot more for you around the corner. And we're going to be at Fan Expo in person at the Canadian Podcast Award booth. You can check the dates of that on our socials. And meet me, your boy. Get a high five, a handshake, a hug, whatever. I also got a raffle going on, free to enter. You might win a prize. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you next time. Mwah.